shifting. Properties are sitting longer in the market. We're getting a lot of worried sellers, and they just want to, sell quickly. So again, who are we? We're primarily a cash buyer. We're an investor. I know many of you already work with investors, but we just want to learn more about your business, see how we can help you elevate your business and earn your to be a part of your preferred investors as you guys are, working with your clients out there in the field. And what's in it for you? I know as a big part is, one, you can make more money and also help your clients, again, that are in tricky situations. So that the way the process works is that if you have a seller who maybe doesn't want to put it on the market, they have a property that doesn't qualify for conventional financing, or they just want convenience, we can provide that very, very flexible terms. The way it works is, if your seller's open to it, we just schedule a quick 15 to 20 minute walk through the property. And then we can get an offer in their hands. We can get an offer in front of you to present to your client within 24 hours. If they like the offer, you get to represent the seller and us. You could double end the property, double end the purchase. And then once we're done renovating it, you can get the relist. And then what's really cool is if you bring us 2 properties in the same year, you get to double end, represent your seller and us, get the relist. So that's 6 sides for 2 sellers. And if you bring us 2 properties in the same year, we'll give you an additional listing on us to say thank you. So you could get paid 7 times for 2 sellers. If you work with GG Homes, which is San Diego, if you do the math, that's over $150,000 worth of commissions, again, for 2 sellers. And if you're really good, which I know you guys all are, when you get that relist and secure the buyer for that relist, you can actually get paid up to 9 times for 2 sellers. So that's what we have to offer. One other thing too is that if you work with us, we're an experienced buyer. Again, we've purchased over 1,200 homes here in San Diego, and we know how to buy. You can have certainty to your clients that, one, we're going to close, we're going to perform. We have a lot of experience. We're now a team of 76 people here in Miramar. That way you can get your client the cash offer they need. You get paid, we get a project. It's a win-win for everybody. So I have about a minute left. That's one way to make more money and help more clients by working with us. A second is, I mentioned that we have a team of 76 people. Before I jump into this, we want to let you know that we will never wholesale a property that's brought to us by a realtor. We really care about our long-term relationships with you guys. And we want to, again, make sure that we give that certainty that we're going to close. So you get paid, your client gets taken care of, and it's a win-win. But we have our own acquisitions team here. And right now, for the first time in history of GG Homes, we actually have an abundance of properties. We're holding on to way too many. So a second way you can, earn more business and do more transactions with us is we're actually starting to wholesale properties from our own acquisitions team. So we have right now we're selling about 20 fixer properties off the MLS. So if you have any investors, some of them will qualify for conventional, most of them won't. Some of them need a little bit of work, some of them need a lot of work, and everything in between. But these are great ways to help get your buyer clients into properties with little competition. We only allow 5 people to walk the properties. They're all under market value, and we're going to work with you and your clients to secure these properties, and there'll be a consistent source of inventory. So I'm going to pause there. I got 15 seconds left. Do you guys have any questions? I'm going to just text all my info in the chat. So if you have any more questions offline, please shoot me a text. My email is there. We'd love to get to know you, your goals, see how we can help each other grow. Thank you so much.
Nicely done, Manny. Thank you so much. And you guys, if you, like he said, if you have questions or are interested in anything about what GG Homes is talking about, and want to reach out to Manny, then go ahead and contact him through his information. Like Nikki put in the chat, many of our agents have done a lot of work with them. So feel free to understand that they are here because they're highly recommended. All right, Broker Bob, I saw you, friend. Let's go with the launch and growth spotlight. There, I saw you. You're on mute. It's the button on the bottom left. Do you still see him? I could do the broker update. That'd be super fun.
I think it's his first Zoom call.
Okay. Let's go to Jacqueline for the director of growth update while we wait for Phoebe to come back.
Hello, friends. So a quick idea for you, especially for my agents that are going to Mega Agent Camp next week, but this does apply to anybody that does any kind of referral agent business. When you go to Mega Camp or when you're interacting with the world and finding referral agents outside of San Diego County, my suggestion is simply when you put them into command using the lovely little red app that has the KW on your phone, that way, even if you're out networking, you can immediately put them in command, tag them as a referral agent. I'm giving you a little bit of insight into next week. Next Marketing Monday, it's going to be from Ashley's stats today. So knowing that, you can plan accordingly. If you get that customized with our lovely Ariana, and then you have that in hand for Wednesday, the last day of Mega Agent Camp, you can reach out to all of your referral agent partners with that Marketing Monday piece so that they know that you know what's happening in San Diego County. So I just wanted you to be prepared for what's coming your way on Monday, whether that is your referral agents that you meet that are brand new at Mega Agent Camp or people that are already in your referral network because you've been doing business and reaching out to those people in the normal course of your business.
And I think Robert's on. Yes. Thank you. Take it away.
Are you guys waiting for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
You
sorry.
guys shout out to.
Sorry, everybody. I had a computer malfunction. I had to reset my computer. So, hey, let's give a shout out to people doing a great job in the Launch and Growth Coaching Program. Congratulations to Monty. He opened an escrow in his own listing and growth. Gaga closed her first escrow, brand new agent. Great job, Gaga. Frankie McGrone closed his own listing, brand new agent as well. And then Tanu got her first BRE signed. She's there in launch. Great job. And then on Coach Carl, Matt Thornburg opened, and this will change because he opened his fourth escrow in 2 weeks. Didn't mention that today, but I reached out to him today. Congratulations, Matt. He's in growth. He's actually, I said, what was your secret? He says, I'm just working. And Emmanuel listed another condo in growth. Congratulations. On Team Vinny, Marty Barker graduated from Launch Coaching. And then on Team Deborah, Karina Zadora closed on her base something listing and growth. Congratulations to everybody. A quick little broker note. I just want to remind people, when you are taking a listing in the name of a trust, or you're representing a buyer in the name of a trust, or an LLC or a corporation. We're getting some feedback. Thank you.
Got it.
I want to make sure that you know how to fill out the paperwork for that listing and understanding the name of the, especially if you're taking the listing in the name of the trust. This is happening more often than not, that people are not getting it right when they draft the paperwork, and then it has to be fixed because you can't have a trust if you don't know who the seller is and have the right person sign on it. So please, 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 if you know you're taking a listing in the name of a trust and you don't know how to fill it out, call me or Mark and we'll walk you through it. We have a very simple guide to do that. That's it. Back to you.
Thank you, Robert. My movement friends, who is speaking today?
I think we're all taking turns, so I got 2 minutes, not even, I'm gonna go really quick. So in light of all the stats meeting, giving you guys a quick economic update. Let's see, mortgage applications are down 1% this week, 18% year over year. So we're slowing down a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. And the biggest hit for us is refis. Definitely slowed, down 82% year over year, you guys. So the majority of our business coming in is purchase business, and you're going to see a lot of people pulling out of the market, a lot of banks going bye-bye. And latest one, Wells Fargo, just closed down on entire correspondent lending, 10% of all businesses, of all loans that are correspondingly done through Wells Fargo are now up for grabs. And what does that say to me? I keep reading articles about more and more people losing their jobs. It sounds to me like it's at the beginning of a recession. It smells to me like it's at the beginning of a recession. And how do we know? Because the yield curve is inverted. We're seeing the very, very, very low unemployment rates. And ZipRecruiter just came out today and said that they're going to be seeing more and more lost jobs because more and more people are applying for jobs. So to me, that smells like recession coming our way. The Fed is going to be raising rates, and they're going to continue raising rates till about 4%. And we're at about 2.25 to 2.5 right now. So there's more raises that are coming, which means it's going to affect the economy and it's going to slow us down. And they're doing it on purpose because inflation is out of control. But that is a good thing for housing. You guys, anytime out of the recession over the past 50 years, housing prices have continued to increase. So it is still a great time to purchase homes. And it's not going to be anything like it might slow down. We're not going to see 20% appreciation, but it's also going to come down a little bit. Sorry, Wes, I just saw the hat. It's going to come down a little bit. We're going to be in the single digits. So we're decelerating appreciation. That's my 2 cents for the day. Anthony, you got something?
Yeah, so we're going to actually start putting together our mortgage 101 for this month, or hopefully for next month too. So I'll be reaching out to the coaches directly just to kind of get a filler from them, see if they have any new clients that are interested. But be on the lookout for that email coming out soon. Already.
Wes? No, nada? Okay, Matt?
I look forward to seeing you all in Austin, Texas.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Because of Austin, we're not going to have Movement Mondays next week. So we'll be resuming the week afterwards. But thank you guys for everybody for showing up. Having a blast with everybody.
Thank you guys for all that you do. See you in Austin for your umbrellas. And I would like to ask everyone to put property pitches and buyer needs in the chat so we can give actually the full time for staff.
And share the screen.
Take it away.
Thing that's it.
I'm so glad there's people there. There was nobody here. This is gonna be me and Evie for the meeting. By the way, we discussed, Evie and I did, since we were alone, making next month's staff meeting in person only. Do you guys think? We'll record it and you can watch it on YouTube if you want, but I think we want to get you guys back in here. So as long as we don't all come back with COVID from mega camp. That's the plan. All right, thank you. Ed, thank you for the update. We don't need to do stats because essentially you said exactly what I'm going to say. I will show obviously the local numbers though. So National Take a Hike Day. How many of you want to tell people to take a hike? Yeah, on November 17th, that would be the appropriate time to tell them that. That is 90 days away from today. And the reason I always highlight one of the national days or holidays is because, why? Say it out loud.
Because you like to have fun.
That too, but because remember last month was no broad day. So I'm noting that for October. Whatever your activities are today in our business, you won't see results from for 90 days. So it's just a constant reminder that you've got to keep doing it, even though you don't see results. The results are very, very long to come in real estate, always, no matter what. All right, first slide. Guess what, Evie?
Hold on, stand by, people. There you go.
All right, thank you. That was working.
Yeah.
Okay, so the top box is the properties that were listed. This, I go back all the way to 2018. Year to date through the end of July, which is what all these numbers represent. We are down 11%, 11.5% for listings brought to market. She's gonna probably send them as we sit here. Okay, so 11% fewer listings this year than last year. The more dramatic number is the number of solds, which is down 20%. So we have sold 4,244 fewer properties through the end of July than we did in 2021. We're feeling that. We're feeling that. What's interesting is we are also listing fewer. So you would predict that if the market's slowing down, you would have a buildup of inventory, which we've had, but that plateaued. Because there are still fewer listings coming to the market, even though fewer are selling, we're not seeing a massive buildup. We've been hovering for about a month at 4,100 to 4,200 active listings. Okay, as of this morning, and compared to last month this time, we only had 1,026 properties, single family detached under $1 million. So less than we had last month. A few more in pending than we had last month, and a few more sold. So July was slow in comparison to other Julys, but we're not slowing any more down. That was kind of the plateau. At least that's what it looks like. Active detached over $1 million, 1,493 fewer than last month. And the pending and the sold numbers are pretty much on par, pretty close anyway. Condo market's the same. So nothing is dramatically shifting from July to August. We're staying pretty consistent. Here's what that should mean. July closings were really low. August closings will be really low in comparison to previous years. September closings will be really low. So the trajectory is hanging on there. All right, here's the price points for the listings. What do you notice there? This is a 3-year span, 2020 through 2022. Blue is 2020. Yellow is 2022. What pops out? What did you say? Listing prices are going, we're listing more properties in the higher price points. This is the same trend we've been seeing. It is just getting a little more extreme. I think we'll see that flatten because I think there are sellers in the market right now still testing the market, thinking they're going to get, like we heard from Matt, way over asking, and they're not. So we'll see that flatten out a little bit. The sold numbers, they follow the listed numbers, obviously. What was interesting to me on this is this year, the only 2 price points where we sold more than we did last year to date, was in the $1 million and over $2 million. Okay, listed 2021 versus 2022. Where are we listing fewer? In the affordable price points. So we're listing fewer there, but we're actually selling most of that inventory, which is very interesting. So it really is a tale of 2 markets, where the lower end is getting hit harder as far as sold units, because we just don't have them to list. That makes sense. And the higher price points are still moving, and they're moving at a really good clip. The absorption rates are still incredibly high. Okay, there's our sold numbers. All right, active as of this morning, single family houses in the price points from under 200. These are my old price points I used to do. Now it's kind of silly to do it because there's so few properties under 400,000. But right now, under 400,000 in the whole county, we've got 17 houses. By the way, some of those are manufactured or mobile, because people put them in the wrong categories. And that's it. Condos. It's getting a little, who has a condo buyer in the room right now? A lot more choice, huh? Let me go back to that. Let me ask, back button. With a lot more choice, and you on Zoom, whoever's monitoring Zoom, also let us know how many of you are having an issue now getting your buyers to be urgent. are motivated. Yeah. What's the one thing we probably can use through the end of this year? Ed just told us to get them urgent. What happens if the interest rate goes up another 2 points, which he just said it's likely to do? They will lose 20% buying power, and we can see here, what are they gonna buy? Yeah, so make sure you're taking that messaging back. It is very likely we'll see at least another point this year, at least. Are you ready to buy 10% house less? Because prices are not coming down to match that. Okay, next, listed compared to sold by price point. Look at the absorption rates. They're still excessively high. Now, we were in 80% range with most of the price points, which is just asinine. We should have never gotten there, but we were there for a long time. So it feels like we really are in a slow market. We're not.
I think we even saw 90.
Yeah, we did. We saw 92% in some of the price points. As a reminder, for those of you who are relatively new in real estate, a seller's market is defined by 20% absorption or better. We would have to get down below 20% to be in a buyer's market. We are way over 70%. So it's still a very fast market when you look at history. Okay, now here's I'm going to spend a little bit more time than usual on these slides because this will show you the trajectory, and I'm hoping it will inform you that you really have to increase your activities now because you have to be hunters. Here's what I mean by that. So on the slide, every number that's up there represents a July for new listings. So July back to 2018. Can you see just visually that that's the top of the listings every year? It's the highest, traditionally, the highest month of listings is July in San Diego County. We came way down compared to June, and the trajectory is to go even quicker down, meaning fewer and fewer listings are coming this second half of the year. That's good in the sense we won't see a huge buildup in inventory, only because we're not going to see a ton of new inventory go in comparison. Okay, so prep for that because there are going to be fewer units to sell, which means you need to be going and hunting more than just hoping things will pop up. Active listings, it has built, but it built really in July and then it plateaued. So we are still absorbing. We built up a little bit, but we've been absorbing really well. So I think we're still going to hover somewhere between 4,000 and 4,200, probably through the end. Because that trajectory of new listings is down. Pending listings, totally flat, June over July. And we'll likely see those same numbers. So when we look at it from a brokerage standpoint, I'm just looking like, okay, we're going to have 2,300 closings probably every month the rest of the year, which is significantly less than most years. And the solds follow the same trajectory, and that line is a little scary. The good news is if we look back to pendings, we know that's going to plateau out. It's not going to continue a downward trajectory, it'll just plateau. Okay, median sales price is still up. So again, this is a slide I may use on the Marketing Monday one. Decelerating appreciation is a perfect 2-word phrase for it. We are still up. If you bought last year, you still made almost $100,000, $90,000. Most jobs don't pay that, so real estate's a good investment. And that was 10%, 10.28% appreciation. I do think this year we're going to see the same. Well, if you buy a house at $875,000 and make 10% and you make 90 grand, who's going to complain about that? Now, month over month, you see a dip, but who buys for a month? We have to be good with our language and explain it's a dip. We're still going to see appreciation. Okay. Average, same thing. If you bought last year, you've made 110,000 on the average. Even though it shows that dip, there's no evidence that tells us that dip is going to continue a trajectory down. Okay. Questions on that? Because that can be confusing. All are so quiet, and I can't see you on Zoom.
So there's only been 2 times in history that property values have dropped 10% or greater. And that was the Great Depression and the Great Recession.
And then historically, we picked it up anyway. I don't know about the Great Depression, but the Great Recession, we came back quickly. It
Yep.
took the Great Recession to get us to this where we have 48% appreciation in 4 years. So here's the market shift. Let me put it in simple terms. The market shift we are experiencing really has to do just with the slowdown of number of sales, not the slowdown in values or appreciation of values. Okay, median market time, because the slowdown in sales is there, we're seeing it spike up. Now, spike up is relative. 14 days and 13 days average time on market, which should tell you median time on market, I'm sorry. If you have a listing and you hit 14 days, you may want to look at your price. By the way, that's still excessively fast. It's just an indicator that that's where really well-priced properties are moving in less than 14 days. Say again. Yeah, well, this is from InfoSpark. So Emily's asking, we did a mastermind a couple weeks ago. I may have maybe picked that week, and it was a different number. But for all of July, InfoSparks tells us it was 14 days for houses, 13 days for condos. And I may have just screwed the slides up.
We looked at specifically July for that, and this is looking at.
No, this is July. But it's also 2 different data sets, and I wasn't all the way through the month, I don't think. But you just also, thank you for asking the question, because I do use 2 different data sets on this. And I probably should name them for you on the slide, so you know where the information comes from, that I didn't just make it up. Not that you would think that, but if you're showing it to a client, they may want to know, right? Where it's not. So there's a resource in SDMLS called 10K InfoSparks. And I pull a lot of the data from that. Any of these bar line chart, or what do you call these? Bar line charts? Line charts, that's that data. Where I use the actual bar graphs, that is hand pulled data that I do every month from the MLS. So it's not an aggregator of data for the bar charts. Oh, just frozen. All right, next slide, months of supply. This is kind of fun. For anybody who's been in the business more than 10 years, you're the only ones who can remember 2 or 3 months of inventory, which means your buyers have a lot of selection. We're gonna get there. And that's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. It feels painful because we just came out of 2 weeks of inventory and 3 weeks of inventory. So we are triple the amount of inventory that we had at a minimum. And that feels like a lot, it's still not a lot. What that indicates, by the way, for newer agents to us, if we stopped listing, if we said, you know what, we just want to slow the market down even more, stop listing property today, by the end of September, we would be out of condos. And by midway through October, we would sell all the houses. Yeah, this also makes sense. And to me, it's a kind of a breath of fresh air. Our list price to sales price ratio is coming back down into like our galaxy. We should have never been at 107% list price to sales price ratio. That's just not healthy or sustainable. Now, what looks like we're writing the market. So we are at 98%, 98.8% for houses and 100.2% for condos. That's healthy. By the way, that's the average. So that also tells you, like some of the people who shared today, people are getting deals. They're negotiating deals, because for that to be an average of 98.8% means a lot of them sold under 98.8%. Yep, price per square foot follows all the other pricing. It has dipped down a little bit, but it's going to plateau and then it will go back up. It will not none of our prices are likely to go back up during this year. But I would love to earmark this video on YouTube and come back to it next year. I predict next August, we're still gonna see 10% over a 12-month period. But the next 6 months, we're gonna see that trend down. I don't know what that was. Oh. All right, monthly indicators. These are the two slides that I put in that come from the SDAR, I forget what it's called, local area monthly indicators of housing statistics. So how many of you have buyers that are freaked out right now? Sellers that are freaked out? It's because they're seeing media messages like this: closed sales decreased 43.6%. And then the media sells with fear, because that's what the media does. If you are thinking about selling and you see something like that, or you hear the market is falling, it's going to create panic. So what do we do with those sellers? What can you use from what we just talked about to not have them freak out? Still selling. It's still selling on average. Okay, great. Just go to that slide. A little bit longer time. What else?
Our absorption rates are still over 70%.
Absorption rates are still over 70%. I would highlight the fact that we were just in an insane market that never happened, should have happened. And they're likely, showing the numbers, going to still make money as long as they're holding for more than a month or two.
All of our just clients want to sell. Yeah.
All right, so I'm not moving and the microphone is cracking up. Inventory increased 23.2% for detached homes, 18.7% for condos. That sounds like a huge number, but when you look at the raw number, we still don't have enough housing supply. So sometimes you want to talk about the raw numbers, sometimes you want to talk about the percentages, which is why I give you both. Because if I say, oh, I closed one deal last year and this year I closed 3, so I have a 300% increase in my business. What one would I want to use with a client? 300%, not 1 to 3, but they're using it in the reverse to scare people. Okay. At a time of year when home buying activity is typically very strong, choice of words, soaring home ownership costs have caused home sales to decline nationwide for the 5th consecutive month. Well, our prices aren't soaring. So again, we got to choose our language, educate our people better than the media messages they're going to get. Has anybody seen a positive news story about real estate in the last month? Or is it all the sky is falling? I unfortunately start every morning with the news, and it is interest rates are going up again. With real estate specifically, they've said some positive things about the stock market, that we've had a few gains. Real estate, I have not heard one positive thing. So we have to tell the truth. Okay, so Jacqueline said she heard some people couch it. This could be an opportunity for buyers. Great. That's slightly better. Yeah. All right. Housing supply overview. This was important. The median sales price, this is nationwide, not San Diego. Nationwide, the median sales price for a new single family home was north of $400,000. How many of you would love a new single family condo in San Diego for $400,000? So that's a nationwide number, but it's important because of what it is saying in that whole paragraph, which I'm not going to read, is builder confidence is waning. What it doesn't say is obviously that also exists in San Diego. This is one of the things that is protecting us from rollback in prices because we're not building new supply. And we haven't been for a long time. And if builders are getting even more nervous about building, we're going to build even less, which means that the existing demand we have for existing supply is going to continue to push those prices up. I coach people in areas where they still do large developments, 500, 600 houses at a time. They're much more, they're going to feel that a lot more. But we won't. Inventory levels were up. Okay. Questions, comments, slides you want me to go back to? So Joe Fair asked if values are falling. I don't know how we would determine that yet. The average and the median has, but that just, to me, tells me there's fewer houses available to sell in the lower price points, more houses available to sell in higher price points. That's what's stalling out, is those higher price points, not particular houses. Does that make sense? So if that's so neighborhood by neighborhood, and I would say we probably have neighborhoods that are, well, I know it because I've had conversations with agents that are still going way over asking price because the neighborhood is such. I would be hard pressed. I think if I had the time to go through every zip code in San Diego, I don't think I'd find one that has actually gone backwards in price. If I'm looking at more than a year. So June to July, we probably lost some value, but it's that 1 month. Oh, it was. We all felt it, didn't we? It was like, ooh. Yeah, and because we were so white hot fast market, it feels like we slammed the brakes on, but we really didn't, because our absorption rate is still 70+% and our days on market is 14. It just in comparison feels like. There's less. So Joe said he's got a listing in City Heights, it's not moving. Again, traditionally, that's not a neighborhood that is in really high demand. It's a neighborhood you get into because that's your first step into the housing market. Who's being hurt right now the most by interest rates? The entry level market, because I was just squeaking in anyway. So that's not surprising to me at all. I would say if you look at any of our zip codes that are entry level zip codes, you're probably going to see a lot more softening than you would see in the 600,000 to 800,000. Doesn't mean it's not going to move. It's just soft. How long have you been on the market? A few months. Okay. Well, there will be a price. All right, so I don't know if you on Zoom can hear him, and I hope I remember these pages right. Joe said he listed it way over where it should have been because the clients demanded that, and then finally got them down to where they should have initially listed at. But now that means we missed now's market, so now he's going to have to chase the market down even further. So there's this book called Shift, and there's a remarkable graphic in there. It's on page 174 of the book. It's in that range anyway. And it's a good conversation piece to use with your clients that says, look, if we don't hit it now, we're going to be outside of the market. We're going to have to come down even further. And this particular shift, I think we're feeling that even more because it was so crazy. And we could just throw darts at a wall and figure out what the price was. So we have to make that adjustment. And we could not have predicted that this July, because of interest rates likely, slowed down as much as depending on what we have. We can predict that the third and fourth quarter are going to be slow because they always are. That's why that trajectory is likely so short. Make this simple with your sellers. You've got to be aggressive with pricing between now and the beginning of the year. There's not anything that's structurally going to change to bring back that demand that we saw up through March. Okay, other questions?
Okay, that would be your one line to sellers, if your one line to buyers, that'd be your one buyers.
For sure, because especially if they're entry level or mid-level buyers, if you lose 10% purchasing power and you can only afford 400,000, you can't buy anything else in San Diego. You're just out of the market. Now, And I said, I'm sure some of you remember, if we lost 80% of our buyers, it would be okay, because there's still so much demand. That's still true, but I don't want to see those 80% who want to buy something miss their mark because they think prices are going to come down so fast. It's not going to happen. Yes, Judy.
How would you convince them the prices are not?
Show the stats. And be able to, so she asked, how would you convince them? Show the stats. We are not listing a lot. If we were still listing the same number we were listing last year, I'd be nervous if prices would come down. But we're not. The number of new listings is down 11% through the end of July, but that trajectory in July was way down. And August is down. So unless we have increased supply, prices can't come down. Or demand drops even more, and that's where the interest rate, 1% is going to price out some people, not everybody. And we're still at only 4,100 active listings. A county of 3.5 million people. That's not a lot of inventory. Feels like it because we were at less than 1,000 in January. But 4,200 is still, or 4,100 is still not a healthy number. 6 months. 4 to 6 months in California, 6 months in most other states, is a balanced market. And I do this because we haven't actually seen that since 2000, probably first quarter 2010.
So it's gonna be
4 to 6.
Oh, we can see forwards.
Yeah, I'm thinking I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty certain. I've got it on my computer so I can look at it. We've been a very aggressive sellers market since 2010, and every quarter it just got more aggressive. And for those of you who don't know, I was talking to somebody outside of our market center a couple weeks ago about why that happened. Anybody in the room besides me and Judy in the business 2010, Clarissa?
I was.
Okay, so for all of us who may remember, I remember, it was actually Bridget who reminded me of this. She and I bought our first homes in the same year, which was 2010. And the government, coming out of the last big crash, the government instituted a first-time homebuyer tax credit where they essentially handed you $10,000 to go buy a house. So combined, a lot of realtors bought their first house that year because you could throw your commission in and still negotiate. I bought an REO with the bank and get that tax credit, and it made homeownership possible to a lot of people. But it started this huge wave. Unintended consequence is what we've seen happen over the last 12 years. It just never slowed down. Had they not done that, we would be in a very different place. But there you go. So this next, oh, yes. No. Melinda has a question. Why do I think listings are down? It's a great question. And I think there's probably a lot of circumstances around that. The media messaging doesn't help. And the fact that the world is a chaotic shithole right now doesn't help. When people are nervous or scared or uncertain, regardless if they live in this country or any other country, what is human nature? Freeze. It's fight or flight or freeze. And most people are freezing. So unless there's a significant reason to sell, a true motivation, not testing the market. Heard my friends tested the market, didn't work. We're happy enough where we're at. And who knows what's happening in the world right now. So I think that's probably, we could break it down into the minutia, but it's when things are unsteady, people freeze. They have to give up their good interest. And that's another thing, they have to give up their good interest rate. So if I am selling and even if I can't afford to go up, I'm going to be paying 2 to 3 points higher than I got in. We talked, I think, at the mastermind too on assuming financing. Robert Shantz, thank you for bringing some of the stuff you're bringing to us as far as creative financing, because a lot of loans are assumable. And if we can find that on the listings we're taking, oh my gosh, if you can put it in the MLS, assume this loan at 2.5%, that makes your property way more valuable. Peggy.
Yes, Ashley, I'd like to know, what is the takeaway for this market update today?
Motivate your buyers with the impending reality that interest rates are gonna go up. So they very well could be priced completely out of our market. Because our prices are not gonna come down as quickly as rates are gonna go up. That's the easy buyer message. Seller message is you don't have a lot of competition on the market. It's more than it was, but it's still not a lot. If we price right and look the best, you're gonna move fast.
I would think it's an opportunity for those people who want to list, buy, and have that opportunity, and people were getting scared they wouldn't be able to get a house.
So Jacqueline says this is probably a great opportunity for people who want to list and then go buy. Right? They don't have to worry about being contingent so much. They only, yes, and interest rates. That's a big decision point for a seller. Do I want to pay more interest on this? Now, again, Robert, bring us more creative financing stuff. Ed, Wes, Amanda, educate us on buy downs. And then if you're going on listing appointments, figure out who's holding their loan and if that loan's assumable. That's a huge part that most of us are probably missing in the conversation, so we haven't had to worry about it.
For advising that along the direction.
Well, first of all, we're not advising. The question was, if we're advising on the assumable loan, the bank will tell you if it's assumable or not. We're not, till we get word that it's assumable, we're not advising. So that would be a question to go back to the seller and say, who's your bank? You should call them and find out if another buyer can assume this. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wes said, which one?
Yeah.
VA loans are pretty much the only assumable loans in the market today. Okay. Wes, does the buyer have to be a veteran?
No, the
Okay.
buyer doesn't have to be a veteran. They would have to qualify for the financing on their own. But when we are originating conventional VA and USDA financing, it is the VA that has the assumable option on our loan disclosures.
Emily?
If the VA buyer sells to a VA seller sells to a non-VA buyer though, they lose their VOE. Is that portion of it? You have to use that?
Did you hear that, Wes?
No, what was the question?
If a VA seller sells to a non-VA buyer, does the VA seller lose their VOE?
You know, Ed and I are going back and forth in the chat about that. It's my
If a civilian-
understanding that they get their eligibility back.
If a civilian buyer assumes the VA loan, the remaining portion of the seller's VA entitlement and use stays with the original loan. The veteran cannot retrieve the remaining eligibility until the loan's paid off.
So what that means to your seller is depending on how much eligibility they have left to use with the VA. If they have none, then that's going to be more problematic. But if they have some, they're going to have to come in with the down payment. They won't have the 100% financing feature on their next buy side.
Two other things you may want to consider right now, it just popped into my head. One, if you have investors, what a great time to 1031. That's a good conversation to have right now. Nick, if you're watching, you should be educating us on the whole 1031 process. And second, seller financing. So maybe the loan's not assumable, but if somebody has a lot of equity and they're willing to carry it back, that can be another way that we can, God bless, we can get people in. Okay, anything else? Who's going to make a camp? It's gonna be 212 degrees, 95% humidity.
Another.
All right, y'all, have a great week. Stay safe. Go hunting.
For listing.
Yeah, don't shoot anything. No, go for listings.
See you guys.
Thank you.